Okay, I have started the recording. Okay, so since this question are in like scattered and it's not arranged in proper way, so what I'll do, I'll start with basic and then from the intermediate, and then we'll talk about the toughest part of the workday. Okay, so first question which says is explain about workday project which you are working on. So there are two kinds of project. So any point in time you are likely you got an opportunity. So there will be always a two project. Like two projects are there in workday. One is the implementation project wherein the entire tenant is blank and you have to configure right from supervisory organization to business process, security, compensation from start to end, which is implementation. Means you have to be expert, thoroughly expert into the configuration part, then you can go for the implementation. And importantly, when you work for implementation project, like it has been like as per Workday's guideline, you should be certified. So for implementation, you should be certified, then only you will get an access. So that is one part. Coming to the other part, which we can go ahead and work on that, which is a support project. In terms of Workday, Workday is not asking if someone is working on the support project. So certification is not mandatory. So majorly we fall under second category wherein we can work as a support consultant. Support means the Workday is already implemented, client is already using the Workday application, and we'll be working as a Workday support consultant. When I say support consultant, it is not a call center kind wherein you'll be getting a call and you have to respond. No, that is not a support consultant task. Support consultant, let's say I have implemented an Workday for, say, example, Samsung. Okay, I have implemented Workday for Samsung in the year of 2016. But from 2016, since we are in 2020, the changes, the configuration which were implemented in 2016 will not be the same in 2020, because organization keeps on changing and getting new thing into the organization. So when some new requirement comes, wherein we have to change the existing configuration to meet up the new requirement, in such scenarios are considered as a Workday support consultant. Secondly, suppose if there are new requirement comes on the reporting part, or some new integration comes wherein you have to migrate your data from Workday application to third-party application. In that case, you have to create a new application. That is not considered as an implementation. Implementation means when you are migrating your entire data into Workday application from scratch. Once you start using application and your Workday is live, then any upgradation after that is considered as support project. So guys, you have got the distinguish what kind of project as a consultant we can work on. We can work on the implementation project. Secondly, we can work on the support project. Again, when we work for implementation project, there are partners organization who are only eligible for implementing Workday application. So we have to be with a partner wherein we can be with a partner organization such as Accenture, Deloitte, IBM, Sierra Cedar. These are the partner company who have got rights to implement Workday application. Secondly, as a support consultant, let's say a Samsung is using Workday and Samsung needs an in-house Workday consultant wherein they can support their day-to-day activity. Suppose if some organization is being created but roles has not been assigned. So in that case, what has happened? There is an issue. As an individual, as an end user, I don't know the configuration part. So what Samsung will do? Samsung will hire an individual who has got sound experience in Workday, and then he'll be acting as a support consultant. So whenever some issues is being created, it will go to the in-house consultant and he will then assign that task and he will work on that task. Right? Okay. Then, so existing issues and upgradation both comes under support project. So we are eligible for working on a support project wherein we can work as a third-party contractor, or else we can be an in-house consultant. Let's say Samsung, you are on payroll of the Samsung, and Samsung will pay you on as a Workday consultant. Okay. Now, roles and responsibilities and daily activities of Workday HCM functional consultant. So let's talk about functional consultant. When I say functional consultant is very vast topic. You cannot say that, okay, I know core HCM, that is not functional. That is the basic fundamental information which you require when you start with Workday. But apart from core functional, there are payroll, there are benefits, compensation, advanced compensation, talent and performance, time and absence. All these are the modules which are part of Workday Functional Consultant. Importantly, there is no one in this wherein they can say that I know all the modules in one. So each will have their own specific area wherein, let's say in terms of I can say that I am expert in HCM, core HCM, talent, performance, leave and absence, benefits. I can say that since I have worked on this module, I have implemented as well as I have supported. I know other modules, but I have not implemented that. So implementation and support both have their different requirement. So when in terms of functional, let's say, okay, and importantly in an organization, if you're looking out for an opportunity, there will be three kinds of opportunity. One is a functional consultant. Second, which is an integration consultant, wherein integration means a technical consultant. Thirdly, there is a techno-functional consultant. In nowadays scenario, if you are looking out for an opportunity, people will, or as an organization, they need a combination of functional as well as a technical expertise. So you should be having a sound experience with functional part along with your integration specialties. So techno-functional role is more preferred in today's kind of opportunity. So we'll be more focusing on the role which says functional as well as the technical experts. Okay, coming back to the functional part. When I say functional, in functional, as I said, there are different modules which we have to support. But again, implementation means you have to implement from scratch. So currently, since we are not focusing on the implementation thing, so I'll be focusing on the support project. So let's assume that I have got an opportunity with Samsung for a support project. So what kind of there are some like requirement from an organization's point of view. If Samsung is hiring Workday consultant, Samsung will have their predefined job description that, okay, if someone is coming to this role, they have to perform, let's say he should be having a business process configuration expertise. He should be having security expertise. He should be able to do compensation. He should be able to perform any kind of supervisory organizational changes. At the same time, he should have some exposure to different modules. So as a functional consultant, what kind of request I get in day-to-day activity? Let's say application is in progress. Everyone is using application, but one point in time, someone have created the organization, but they are unable to assign the roles to that organization. Now, this is one issue which it's very common because end user, they don't know the configuration part of the application. What they understand is they know the process. If you give them a guideline, okay, they'll follow. Step 1 is say create supervisory organization. Step 2, assign roles. Step 3, see the assignment whether it is up to date or not. So they'll only follow the guideline. They don't have any exposure to the configuration part. Now, if they don't have the configuration part, so there are chances wherein they may fail to follow one step and the entire configuration goes for toss. So in that scenario, as a Workday consultant, your role comes into play that, okay, what went wrong? So first you have to, as a consultant, you have to first investigate the issue. Okay, because end user have already given you the issue that, okay, I am unable to assign roles. But as a Workday consultant, your task is to resolve that issue, but only resolving issue will not do. You have to first analyze what went wrong. What went wrong? Because of that, this has happened. So there are three aspects. First, you have to analyze the issue. Once you have analyzed the issue, you have to fix the issue. Thirdly, you have to give the proper explanation to the client or your organization that, okay, this was the precautionary measure you did, these are the development or these are the configuration you did, and this is what is been updated. So as a support consultant, you have to follow 3 steps: analyze, fix, and then give the proper description of that issue. So this is one kind of issue. Secondly, your approvals are not following properly. Let's say I'm giving a real-time scenario. It is very much clear that if someone is hiring in United States, the entire hire process is different. They may require 10 approvals to hire an employee. But in terms of India, they say, okay, we need only 5 approvals or we need only 5 steps. because when you hire somebody in United States, they have benefits, they have organization assignment, all these things are different. But in terms of India, the entire configuration is different. So there may be a scenario, one of your approval may route to United States, but he is not managing India. So you have to dig into the solution and see that what went wrong. Why was the approval went to United States rather than to Indian employee? So you have to go to the system. Okay, let me use the application. Let's say this is our tenant. Now, suppose if your approval is not following properly, what you have to do, first thing, you have to go to the employee's profile. So let's say, let me see which employee is there. David is a very common name, so I'll search with David. Okay, so I've got David Beckham. Let's say he is the employee whose approval is went wrong, whose approval is not followed correctly. So first, what you will do, you'll go to his job. You'll make sure that for which organization this employee is part of. So he's part of Advanced Com Singapore. So you just be to this organization. Then since it is a role, when you assign roles, what happens? Your approval goes to that individual person. So you have to be to role section. Then you will, being under this role section, you will see, suppose if your business process, let's say compensation approval is not working properly. You have initiated a compensation, but approval went to some other person, it not went to the desired designated employee or designated role. So what you do, you have to be first, understand the business process. Secondly, once you understood the business process, then you have to go to the organization and then see that role is assigned to which employee. In that case, you will be able to understand why this approval went to so-and-so employee, not to the current employee. So this is one kind of issue, that business process is not following proper steps. Second, third, maybe which is very common, security. Security looks easy. Whenever you learn security, you'll say, oh, security is very easy. I can make this, I can crack this. But in real-time scenario, security plays very, very, very vital role. Because when you do something wrong, you have to 10 times sure that that employee or the role which you have configured should not get any unwanted data. So whenever you are working with any security changes, you have to 10 times sure that whatever access you revoke or whatever access you give should not give any unauthorized access. Okay, so security is very common. Security issues is very common because organizations have different requirements. Let's consider Samsung. Samsung will say that I'm happy if an employee can see other employees' compensation or other employees' date of birth. But let's say Walmart will say, no, I'm not happy that my employee should see the compensation or the personal information of anybody's employee. So what is happening? Though Workday remains the same, but security access varies from organization to organization. Getting it? Samsung may have their own configuration structure. Walmart will have their own configuration structure. So whenever you are working with security, there is no straightforward formula that you have to follow. In other terminology, you can create configuration, it will work in that way, but security doesn't work straightforward. When you are revoking or you are giving access, you have to make sure that it is not hampering or it is not giving unwanted access. So security issues, it's very common. So when we dig into security, there are multiple security fundamentals wherein role-based security, so you need to first understand which role is this being, what access this role is having. So let's talk about which has been Workday delivered role. Let me see. Okay, since manager is which is a Workday delivered role. So I'll just dig into this. Let's say I've clicked on manager. So I'll see that manager assignments are being happened for these many organizations, and these are the employee who are been acting as a manager for human resource. Job banks is the manager. Finance and administration, Rachel is the manager. So if you wanted to see what kind of access manager has, so what you will do, you just dig into here. Since this role is manager, so first thing when you dig into security, you have to make sure that you understand the structure of security. As I said, there is no straightforward formula for defining security. One organization will have their own structure of security, other organization will have their own structure of security. So security is very common. Then coming to, since it purely depend upon what kind of module as an organization they are using. So let's say this is a core HCM issues, security, compensation is not defaulting, which is very common issues in terms of the, when you assign, let's say you have hired an employee for India. So you want that the Indian employee should get compensation in INR. But if your compensation package is not configured correctly, then there are very high chances that the compensation grades and grade profile will not default. This is very common issue as a consultant used to get, that the compensation is not defaulting. So when it is not defaulting, you have to make sure that your compensation eligibility rule should be up to date. Okay, that is one part. So compensation issues, which is like very common. Thirdly, let's say talk about some specific thing, performance. Let's talk about performance. Let's your Samsung is using performance, and there is condition that the employee who have been hired after 1st of June, they are not eligible for the performance. But still there are some employees who are exceptional, because as an organization exception happens. Let's say there are 500 employees in Samsung. Out of 500 employees, 250 employees are eligible for performance. So as per your condition, 250 employees will automatically get the performance task. But after your manager comes or CEO says that since there are few employees who are senior to us and they are working on the high position, so let's consider them as well. But you have already configured a condition that saying that whosoever is hired after 1st of June are not eligible for your performance. But again, your manager or CEO comes to you and says that since I understand the eligibility rule is not following, but still you have to make sure that these employees are being eligible for performance. So in that case, your eligibility, you should not change your eligibility rule. Once you change the eligibility rule, what will happen? Other employees will also get incorporated to the performance. So once you change the eligibility rule, that will not going to work. You have to manually assign performance to those individuals wherein your manager has said that please consider that a manager. This is very common. This comes from any organization. So this is what, this kind of issues, when you work as an implementation consultant or support consultant, you get this kind of issues in terms of functional part. Let me talk about the technical part of it.
Then can I ask you one question?
Yes.
Yeah, you just mentioned that that higher level of, that another set of employees also wants to be considered for the performance, right? And you said that we should do manually. So can you just explain how can we do manually? Okay,
so there is a task. So there is a task here which says start performance. See, start performance, here is a task, start performance for employee. So this way you can initiate for individual employees. You're getting it? And there is other task wherein you can use that task for organization. If you want your performance should be like enrolled for the organization, you can use the other set of tasks. But for an employee, you have to do this, which is manual process. You have to put the employee name. Then there are review template, which is again has to be configured. So I'm not going in depth of the performance, but this is the task which you can use to initiate a performance for an individual employee. Okay. These are exceptions, and this may come any point in time. This is not like that organization is very structured. This is a very common kind of issues which occurs every now and then for an organization. Okay. Does your doubt clear?
Yeah. I got it. Now you said that for each and every employee, we should do manually. That's what my question was.
Who are not following the eligibility criteria. As for, see, for mass, I am very clear that, okay, anyone who has been hired 1st of June are not eligible. So as for my eligibility condition, I am very much clear. And for 95% or 99% of the employees will follow that parameter. But still there are some employees for whom you have to initiate a process which is manually.
Yeah.
Again,
however, the employee number could be 100 employees, 200 employees, that exception.
Exactly. That is again, if, see, we cannot fix that number. Again, if there is 100 employee, but still there are 500 employees who are not eligible. So doing that way will not suffice your requirement. You're getting it. Let's say there are 1,000 employees. Out of 1,000 employees, 500 are eligible as per your criteria. So you have initiated process for 500. But the remaining 500, your manager says that, or your CEO says that, for other 500, I want 20 employees to be considered for performance. So for them, you cannot change your eligibility rule. You're getting it. So for them, you have to initiate a process via employee. So that count may be 50, 100, 200. Again, that is depend upon your client requirement. You don't have any right to say that please change the eligibility rule. And importantly, very importantly, when you initiate the performance, even for one employee, the entire eligibility rule is freezed. You cannot change anything. You're getting it. Let's say you started your performance from 1st of June, then 10th of June, your manager says, please include that 10 employee. You cannot change the performance template as well as the start date and end date. Once you have initiated either for one employee also, the entire template and the start date and end date get freezed. You cannot change it. Getting it?
Got it.
Any ad hoc request, you have to do this way. Okay, so this is what, again, if I go into in depth of the performance, so we'll have a performance session, which is not the, like the session is not designated for that. So this is just an kind of
I understood your point.
Yeah, which you can get into it. Again, so let's talk about something which says integration. Integration is like, it's very, integration is for the person who have got an experience in coding. But yeah, importantly, the person who is working as a functional consultant should not be disheartened that you cannot be part of technical part. Workday, when I say Workday technical, because integration is very specific, but when I say HCM technical or Workday technical, so it has got report writer, calculated field, EIB, core connector, and Workday Studio. These 5 things considered are part of your Workday integrations. So let's say report is like it's like day in day out requirement as an organization. When suppose you implemented performance, so you implemented performance, as good as you implement your configuration, unless you're giving the report, there is no use. Because as an end user, I am not bothered about what kind of configuration you did. I am concerned about if my performance is in progress or somebody have implemented that, I need the end result. So as an end result, what I need a report, right? I am not concerned about the configuration part. So when report requirement is very important. So when I say integration, 50% of your entire integration is being covered by report writer, because you can use your report writer for creating a report. You can use your reports in EIB. You can use your calculated part in core connector, and you can use your report in Studio. So when I say Workday integration, 50% of the entire integrations are being managed by Workday report writer. So report writer is very important concept. So never ever, if you are a Workday consultant, you are working as a lead of integration or as a techno-functional lead, Workday report writer plays a very vital role. You can be an integration consultant when you say that you know Workday report writer. So report writer becomes a very important part. So getting a report. So performance, let's say there are 500 employees, you want a report. In that, you just wanted to know how many have completed, how many are in progress, how many have not initiated. See, I'm just considering 500 employees, but imagine if an organization is having 10,000 employees. I'm just considering and giving you an example. Imagine if as an organization, they have got 10,000 employees and you have initiated performance for 10,000 employees. Now, as a talent admin, what you want the end result. So when I say end result, you need result in form of report. Because if I go to each employee's profile, there is no point, and which is not suggestible. So you want to create a report. So once you create report, what thing you have to make sure, when you create report, you need to make sure that you choose the correct data source. Let's say, I'm just giving you an example. Let's say you want to create a report based on performance. So what you do? So first of all, you have to know that what kind of data source you'll use. So there is a direct report given by Workday which says data source. See, data source. So first thing, as a consultant, you have to make sure, because if you chose wrong data source, you will never ever get your output as per desired. So before starting any reporting, you should first identify your data source. Once you have understood the data source, then you can start your development. And importantly, any doubt you have, first because when you get a requirement, you first have to give a green signal that you have understood the requirement. So understand the requirement first. If you have understood, then identify your data source. Once you have identified your data source, then start your development. So report have two kinds of things. Report, which is a direct field given by Workday, or else there may be a scenario which says you have to create a calculated field. So now let's say, I'll just give you a simple example so that you get a confidence. Let's say your organization says that I want all the employees' information along with their dependent, but I want only male dependent to be part of that report. So now what has happened? If you create a direct report, you will get a employee along with the dependent, but in dependent you have got a specific parameter which says you only need an dependent, the gender should be male. Now here, if the gender should be male is your condition. So first you have to create a condition, and then secondly you have to, if you say condition, you have to use true or false, and then you put that condition in single instance. I hope you guys are familiar with the report writer and calculated field. So I'm just giving you an overview. Let me know if you are not following me. I'll do it in the tenant. Okay. So whenever you get time, you cannot say that, okay, since Workday is not giving me that only male option, I won't be able to create a report. You can create a report by using the calculated field fundamentals. Okay. So this is one requirement which you get. Report is the 50% requirement. As an integration consultant, you will be doing it. That is done. Now, once you are thorough with report or any existing issues, let's say there are some issues with the existing report also, you have to modify that. So you will get two kinds of reporting. One, the existing report is not working properly, so resolve that. Secondly, you'll get a new requirement for creating a report. So these two kinds of part will come under report. Now coming back to when I say technical part, EIB is the most important. And what kind of EIB is being used by as an organization? So updating and compensation information is the basic EIB which every organization uses. Let's say, since in United States 1st of January is the appraisal or promotion time, so there are 10,000 employees for whom the compensation is being changed. Do you think that manually initiating the compensation process is the justified idea? No. For 10,000 employee, if you initiate manual compensation, it will go for an approval. Then again, it will take hell lot of time. This is not like being encouraged. Now, if you want to change the compensation for a group of 10,000 employees, then in that case, EIB will play a vital role. So when you say EIB, you have got two kinds of EIB, inbound and outbound. Since I want to put data from my template to Workday system, so I'll be using inbound EIB. So updating and compensation record is the primary EIB which is being used by all the organization. Let's assume, I'll give you a real-time scenario. Let's say Samsung has acquired one more organization called Toshiba. Okay, now imagine Samsung is live with Workday. Now Samsung has acquired Toshiba. Now what will happen? Since Samsung has acquired Toshiba, but Samsung is not using Workday, or even though Samsung is using Workday, since they are part of Samsung, so now they have to be in Workday. How they will be there? When you say that, now this is a kind of small project you have to do. Please understand, Samsung is having 10,000 employees, which is there in Workday. Let's assume that this is the Samsung tenant. All the details of the employee are up to date. Everything is working fine. Now assume in a scenario wherein Samsung has acquired Toshiba and they have got 2,000 employees now. Now, those 2,000 employees should also be part of your organization, right? In that case, what you'll do? Are you going to enter manually everything and it will go for an approval for 2,000 employee? No, this is not the justified solution that please do manually. No one is here to do manual task. Everyone wants that the application which they are using should be ease their life. So here, this is a small kind of project which is happened. You remember every big organization is acquiring some small organization. In that case, your integration expertise will come in play. Now, how you will approach this idea? Anyone want to try out how you can approach this idea? Since now assume the same scenario. Samsung is having the Workday Live. They have got acquired Toshiba and they want to update all the 2,000 employees in Workday system. Again, manual is not the justified idea. So forget about manual. What is the idea? What is the new idea? Or what approach you guys follow? Anyone who try, or shall I proceed with that? I want the session should be interactive. So you should speak, give out your idea. Don't feel bad that you don't know what will happen. Since I understand everyone is a kind of new to technology, so it may happen that you may go wrong in one point in time, but attempting will not give you any harm. Okay, anyone who tries, since there are some consultants who have worked for such kind of projects.
I'll go through EAB inbound to get the candidates bulk of data.
Correct. But there is no one EIB wherein by using one EIB, you'll be able to upload all the information, right? If you want to do, the approach is right. EIB is the simplest way and easiest way to do that. Okay, I have got the point. And this is the correct approach. But since EIB doesn't work on your formula, EIB has got their own template. EIB says, yeah, I'll give you a template and you have to update the information on that template. And updating the template, I only understand the Workday template. Even though you give me some other template, I will not understand, I will not take. So when such project comes, there are some parameter you have to follow. Since what you are doing, you're migrating the entire some other organization employees into Samsung. So first, you should be handy with all the data project. So that employee data should be there, their job profile should be there, their compensation should be there, their leave, everything. You imagine, this looks easy that, okay, EIB will give me a very simple solution and I'll upload that. But imagine when you are migrating somebody's information in Workday system, that is not only one employee, 2,000 employee, the project looks easy, but this is a huge project. So first, how you will proceed, first you will make sure that the required data should be there. If you don't have data, there is no point using EIB. So first, the required data should be there. If their job profile is not there, you will have to create a job profile. So imagine, suppose, okay, when you upload via EIB, you first have to understand the manual process. Suppose, let's say if I want to change the compensation, what I'll do, I'll initiate a process manually and understand how it works, how many approvals it happens. Once that is done, then you can initiate via EIB. So it is very important, whenever you are using EIB, you should first understand the manual process and then you should follow the EIB. So in this scenario, what you'll be doing, the very important thing you'll have to be, because position is required for hiring an employee. So you should have 2,000 positions created. All those 2,000 positions should be associated with their roles. Who will be the manager, who will be the HR partner. So you should have those information handy with you. Once this is done, all the pre-hire is to be created first. So all the 2,000 employees pre-hire should be created. Okay. Now, a question for you guys. Anyone can tell me why we create pre-hire? Why should not we direct hire into an employee? Again, this is an interview question. Very common question. Why we create pre-hire? Which is not there in question list, but still, since I am into that, so I'm giving you a question. Why we create pre-hire profile? Why should not we direct hire an employee in Workday system? Okay, let me tell you why we create. Sorry?
When you hire an employee, when you initiate the task, hire employee, you get only two options. Choose from the existing pre-hire or else like create new pre-hire. So the thing is Workday follows that process. The employee has to be there. In the recruiting module, the employee has to go through so many stages to reach the pre-hire stage. So, for example, if a person applies for the job on a job portal, a candidate profile is created. From there, he has to go through several different stages to get the offer.
Correct.
So after that, pre-hire, he will get converted into pre-hire. Then when you initiate the hire process, we can include that person in the, you can select that person basically.
Okay. So yeah, this is what you said about the process, but the important fundamental is that this is, see, again, same employee is hired after 2 years. Let's say you have hired one employee, he worked for 1 year, he left the organization. After 2 years, he again joined that organization. Now, what you will do? You will again create the pre-hire, or you will use the existing?
Use the existing.
Correct. So when you say you use the existing, in that case, whenever you terminate the employee profile. You do not terminate the pre-hire profile. Getting it? Because some organization, I'm giving you the in-depth information. I think you're getting it, what I'm saying. See, you said whatever is there in the process wise, but the basic fundamental for creating a pre-hire comes in a play where the same employee is again getting hired into an organization after 2 years. So when you terminate an employee, what will happen? There is a checkbox whether this employee is eligible for rehire or not. So in that case, your pre-hire comes in a play. Correct. So there are some organizations which doesn't employ. If one employee is terminated, organization will not hire them again. There are organizations which say that, okay, even though he terminated, he was a good lead. If he wants to come back to our organization, we'll rehire him. So when you create a pre-hire, all those pre-hire information will automatically get populated whenever that employee is rehired. So pre-hire is been very effective when you have to rehire somebody into an organization. The basic reason is that you said about the process, but the fundamental which is behind this is that when you rehire somebody, all his information will automatically get defaulted, because his SSN number will not change, his date of birth will not change, his gender will not change, right? These are the information which is from start to finish. This information is not going to change. So this will automatically get populated when he's going to rehire. Okay, so this is very common question. So you will create pre-hire, then you will use an hire EIB, you will update that. Then once an hire is done, you will create his Workday account, then into compensation, then security, all those things will come play. And you can use for everything, you can use EIB. Okay, so EIB is the best way where you want to acquire. If an organization has acquired some new organization, you can populate all the information into your tenant by the use of EIB. So this is about inbound. What about outbound EIB? What do you think that outbound EIB will come from?
Hi, Manthan. I have a quick question. So, as I understand that there's one process called pre-hire, another one is like once a person is hired, there is an employment history, right? So, once a person is getting a rehiring thing, he got terminated, and later on he is again applied, and we are picking all the details from the pre-hire profile.
Correct.
So my question is that is there any data or detail from this employee in his last stint with the organization getting stored into the pre-hire profile as well, or is it
it is not tagged with the pre-hire? Sorry to interrupt you. You are done with your question? Yeah, continue.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, so what I've understood from you, you just wanted to know where that employee's information is reflecting, whether he was part of that organization last 2 years. So if you open any employee's detail, let's say David is very common, so just look out for David. So here we go, we have got David Beckham. Let's choose this employee. Now here you see there are, okay, under his, let me just click on here. There is job section. Under job section, if you see there are 3 dates: hire date, original hire date, continuous service date. By these date, you can make out that whether the employee is rehired or not. If he is rehired, what was his earliest hire date? So these 3 dates will give you the correct information. In pre-hire, nowhere you stored the hire data. When you create pre-hire, let's say you are creating a pre-hire. Anywhere in the system you say that this is his hire date? No. You create pre-hire data which will give you his contact information from the source where you have hired, but nowhere while creating pre-hire you give the hire date. You give hire date when you initiate hire. So by use of these three, again, this is an interview question. What is the difference between hire date, original hire date, and continuous service date? Okay. So let's say I'm assuming one employee that he was part of the employee and he worked for 1 year. Then for 2 years, he left the organization. And again, from 3rd year, he joined the organization. So here he'll have 2 hire date. One is hire date. Okay. Original hire date will remain the same because this is the one instance. Your continuous service date will give you that where he is being hired. So these 3 dates are not anywhere in the system. Since this employee is not rehire, but if you are in rehire scenario, you can see that original hire date will be his first hire date. Let's say one employee is hired in 2016. In 2017, he got terminated, and again in 2019, he joined the organization. So his original hire date will give you information that he was part of the organization in 2016. Then in 2017, he again joined, and still he is working with the organization. So by the use of these 3 dates, you can make out whether this employee is rehired or he is new. Or else there is other way also. You can go to job, you can go to worker history. Okay, this is again a tedious task. Your best approach is like go to this option and look out this date. This is the one way. Again, since you're not following this, then there is a tough way. Go to worker history, filter the hire and see how many hires are there. And you need to make sure it should be successfully completed. It should not be rescinded or cancelled. So if you have if you have got 2 hires which is successfully completed, that means he's a rehired employee. Got it? Okay. Now coming back to the outbound EIB part. What do you mean by outbound? Outbound means anything which is flowing from Workday to third-party system. Again, as I said, there are multiple modules which Workday gives, but there are some organizations which say that no, I don't like Workday's performance. I want some third-party performance. Or though Workday is giving payroll, that is not for India, so I'll use other payroll for India. In that scenario, what you want your Workday system data should flow, because Workday is your human capital management system. Means all the employees' record should be updated here. Now, when you want to migrate your data from Workday application, again, there are 3 approaches. You can use Studio, you can use EIB, you can use Core Connector. Since we are talking about EIB, so I'm giving you a scenario in EIB what you can achieve. Let's say there is a payroll vendor who says that I want employees' information, like their demographic information, to be send it over to me every month, every 1st of month. I want all the information. So what you will do, you will create a report, you will send the data via, again, there is a delivery method. You can have SFTP, HTTPS, or FTP, or via email, or via Workday delivery. There are multiple ways. You can use that approach and you can send your work data. Again, while sending data, your third party says, I don't want the data in Excel or CSV. I want some other format. So in that case, when you say other format, then your XSLT comes in the play. There is a question in the questionnaire is, what does an XSLT do? So we'll complete that when we come to that question. So outbound EIB means when you want to transfer your data from one organization to other, one application to other application, EIB is the first approach which you can think of. There are scenarios where EIB doesn't work. So I'll tell you which are those. I have worked on one project which says they need data, but they need full file and the updated file. In EIB, what will happen? Your updated data will show, but third organization saying, I am also looking out for the in progress transaction. Please understand the scenario. In EIB, if you are transferring, what you will do, you will create a report. When you create a report, what output you get all the output which is being completed. So the third party says, I want in progress transactions as well. In that case, you will switch your gear from EIB to Core Connector. Now, again, Core Connector also is part of your integration, but there are limitations with EIB. there are limitations with EIB. What are those limitations? The file size should not exceed 200 MB, which is very common. Okay. Here in EIB, you cannot send incremental data. Now, assume a scenario, there are 10,000 employees. If you're transferring 10,000 employees record every month, what is happening? Unnecessarily, you are using system bandwidth and sending the same data again and again, which is not the right approach. Now, understand the scenario. 1st of January, your count is 10,000, and 1st of February, you want to send the file. So from 1st of January to 31st of January, you have hired 200 employees. Now, what will be the amount of file you will be sending via EIB? You will be sending 10,200 employees record. In that, 10,000 record is already there with that vendor. So he's not concerned about the 10,000 employees. What he want only the incremental data, which is 200 employees. Now, if you use EIB in this scenario, what will happen? You are sending a repetitive data. Again, you are using the bandwidth, sending the repetitive data, which is not in the correct approach. Vendor is asking, I only need a incremental data. When he is asking for incremental data, in that case, you will be switched from EIB to core connector. Okay. Again, in core connector, there are two approaches. You can send full file, or else you can send incremental data. Okay. In EIB, you have to create report first, and then you have to send the data. But in core connector, you just have to give the business process. If that employee is part of that business process, then it will take that information and send that information to the third-party application. So when you want to send the incremental data, in that case, EIB will not gonna work. In that case, your core connector will take place. So even core connectors is like a configuration thing. There is only XSLT which you have to write. But imagine a scenario where even core connector is not giving you the correct output. Then what is that? Then there comes Workday Studio. Workday Studio is high-level integration, which says that whenever you are not achieving your requirement via EIB or core connector, in that case, the best approach that you should be following is Workday Studio. Now, Workday Studio, again, we have got a topic. So in Workday Studio, I'll take a deeper dive. Since Workday Studio is not the topic which you can talk now, since we have that question, once that question comes, I'll take a deeper dive. So these are the scenarios when you work as a Workday consultant, a functional consultant, we spoke. Then as a technical consultant, you get this kind of requirement, whether you have create report, EIB, or use core connector. Since there is a specific question for Studio, then I'll cover the question for Studio. Okay, let's talk on the other question.
I have a quick question. Can I ask?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so I get confused when I was asked about audit reports. So can you please explain what's the difference between audit reports and the regular, whatever we do, advanced reports for reporting requirements and the integration requirement?
Okay, audit report, what does that audit means? Audit means you are tracking some, let's say, as an employee, I did something wrong, but I'm not saying that, I'm not confessing it. I'm saying, no, I haven't done anything wrong. So in that case, what you'll do, you will check his audit record. Audit means you will just cross verify since what Manthan has done. So when you want to verify that what as an employee you have done your transaction. So let's say we'll use one audit report. So there is a, you just, since you are beginner, you don't know the exact thing. So what you'll do, just to be at safer side, just type audit and press enter. By typing enter, what will happen? You will get list of all the reports which are, again, even audit is a report, but the output which you get in audit is different than the output which you get in the custom report. Okay. Okay, so audit will give you, let's say, now let's consider that we have logged in as Charlie Smith. So let's say what all thing Charlie has done. How you will see, how you will know that what Charlie is doing. If you wanted to see that, there is a report which says audit, just type employee or user. If you're not getting with employee, just type user. Okay, so just be safe, type audit. Since you're interested to get into report, go here and click on report. Yeah, reports. So if you click on this category, what will happen? You will get list of all the reports which starts with audit. So there are these many reports. So audit is basically to track the activity done by an individual based on some parameters. So let's say, let me look out for the exact report which I am looking out for. Data audit. There is a delivered report by Workday which says you can use that report to track the employee's activity. Let me see that.
So do you think Workday standard reports task would help?
Sorry, Workday standard reports starts with?
Yeah, no. Workday standard reports will give the list of all the standard reports delivered for Workday.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
but again, the count will be more since I have typed audit. So I'll get the list of audit report.
Okay.
Okay, so let me just look out the delivered report, or else the simplest way is to go to the employee's profile, click on the employee's profile, go to the related action. Since audit is part of security, go to security. And here you see, sorry, there is one section says audit. Let me see, do I have access to see, do Charlie have access to get the audit? Let me just see that. I don't think so, but if he has audit, you can get an audit option over here. That's the reason I'm not getting the report. So it is something to do with the security part.
I think Logan will have that access to audit the employees.
Okay. Okay, so let's just to come back to, since see here I cannot see that audit means the access is not there. That's the reason I'm not getting the report as well. Okay, coming back to your question, audit will always give you the tracking, because as an organization I can do any wrong. If my intention is wrong, I can commit any wrong and I'll say that no, I have not done that. So for checking that, you have an audit report. By clicking on audit report, you can check as an employee what all activities he has done. So you can track all those information and then you can get into it. This is one part. Coming back to your custom reports. Custom report is the input which is being given and you need the output of it. Let's say you want the compensation of all the employees. So what in that case, you will not go for audit. Since you're not tracking the activity here, your requirement is to get the data which is being entered while hiring or getting promotion. So audit report will give you the activities done by an individual or done by a group. Custom report will give you what has been stored in the system and you are getting in the form of report. Getting it?
So got it, Manthan. But the only thing my question is, when I'm asked to create an audit report, not based on, not for the workers' activity, but rather on, I was asked one question, I'll tell you. Before you process the payroll results, it is important to check whether the paid time off results for all the employees are processed or not. So I was asked, how do you create that audit report?
Okay, again, that is see, you took it wrong way. See, audit, if you're saying only audit, so audit is tracking that. But again, if you're creating that, you can give your report name. So he's asking for, he's asking for that if your employee is time off is being completed or not. So in that case, you have to create a report based on your business process, because when you initiate a time off, what happens? You initiate a time off request and it goes for an approval. So whosoever gave you the requirement, he was interested in that all the leave requests should be completed for that month. Then only the payroll should process. So there is no audit. It is simply a custom report based on business process. So if you want to do that, you should have used create custom report task, which is very clear. You'll use this. So custom report. Here you will use advanced. Again, this is clear. In terms of data source, you'll be using because time off, or else there is a time off. Just type time off, all time off and time off entries. Okay, all time block and time off entries. So you use this, and here you will in filter, you will say that, okay, again, it depends upon the requirement. If he is asking for in progress transaction, or he is interested to get the completed transaction. If he is interested in progress transaction, so you will add a filter. If he is interested to get the completed transaction, so you will just say that the transaction should be completed. Are you getting me? So that is not okay. I understood what you think. You thought audit is some special terminology. No, audit means also checking. Checking anything comes as an audit. When we say account audit, what we do, we are not creating any new generals. What we do, we actually verify the data which is already been entered, and we are seeing that whether the format is correct or not. So audit means validating any information which are being entered into the system is correct or not. So auditing means you can validate whether employees time off is being completed or not. You got it now? So yeah, audit means any validation in the system. When you do, in your scenario, he was interested to see, even if there is an in progress transaction, ask the manager to complete that transaction. You got it?
Yes, got it.
So yeah, that is the audit part.
One more question regarding inbound EIB, Manthan. So we learned about inbound EIB. We have learned, done many examples using the option attached file at launch, which is nothing but a template generation. So I haven't done much practice on the other options like REST URL, and so many other options are there.
Okay, so let me just
know all those things.
Yeah, there are meaning with that. It is not like a straightforward. In terms of inbound EIB, means data from third-party system. But again, EIB works in a straightforward. It says that whenever you want to update, it has to be template based. So first you have to identify the template. So let's assume in our case, we have to update the compensation part. So let me tell you that. So I'll just create a EIB. I'm considering an compensation change EIB. So I'll go to EIB.
Manthan, my question was, one second. So when you are trying to create inbound EIB, in the get data, you have options, right? Like whether do you want to select web service, or do you want to select attached file at launch, which is nothing but template model. Correct. So I'm coming from that point. I'm not coming. Okay. I'm not asking like different templates which are there.
No. But while when I create EIB, I'll get that option, right?
Okay. Yeah, please
get
go ahead.
Data. So I just wanted to see that section, and then I'll explain to that.
Sure. Sorry.
Okay. So let's give this name as test EIB. And since you're talking about inbound, so I'll just click on inbound. I'll click on OK. So here is get data. Okay. Now here you're talking about this data source or data format. First thing.
Data source.
Okay, data source. So let me see how many options are there. Attach file at launch. So by choosing this option, what will happen when you launch an EIB, it will ask for the attachment. What attachment you will do is defined by the data format. So if you say that, okay, I want to use request compensation change, so you have to attach the same template while loading an EIB, or else you'll get an error that the file format is not correct. So it is interrelated with each other. Here, once you define the web service, which web service, so you have to attach the same file over here. Now you are getting it?
I got that point, Manthan. In the retrieval method, see, like the options are there, right? Other than attach file at launch. Can you check the options?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I'm asking about.
Okay, I'll tell you now. Now here, again in all these options also, the data format will come. You have to use the specific format. But here, instead of file at launch, what system will do? Let's say FTP. I am saying FTP. Okay. So what it will do, it will get the file from this FTP. Now let's assume, I'll give you a scenario. Let's say you are to upload the data, but that data is not there in your handy with you, it is being stored at some third-party system or any other application. Now assume that. So what will happen when you run the EIB, when you launch the EIB, what system will do? System will look out for FTP based on your retrieval method. It will choose the retrieval method. You have to give ID and the directory, and whichever file is updated there, it will just upload that. So while launching an EIB, you don't have to manually attach the attachment. It will just pick that file from that FTP and it will automatically run the EIB. In this scenario, how it works, it is not a manual task. In this, when you want your EIB to be uploaded from third-party system, it has to be scheduled date process. Let's say every 1st of January, I want a file from here. Retrieval means, let's say I want the file to be uploaded from FTP. I'll give all my credentials over here. So whichever file is updated there on 1st of January, it will pick that file and it will automatically upload in Workday application. So here, launch, attach file at launch means you are manually attaching an EIB file. All these options, just like a delivery. In delivery, what you do, you are defining a place where your file to be delivered. In retrieval, you are defining when you run an EIB, what is your retrieval method, whether your file is present at FTP or your file is present at your FTP or it is Amazon Simple Storage Service. So you are giving a storage place where your actual file is there. So in this, you will not manually attach, system will automatically pick that file from here and it will automatically load the application. Understood now or not clear? If not, then again I'll frame it in proper format.
No. I got it what you said. My question was, how often do we use all these things? Because when I learned inbound EIB, I was told that inbound EIB is used for ad hoc updates in the work. So my question is, and also I was told that most of the inbound integrations are studio because we need to do some validations and all that. So my question here is, in case of if you want to use FTP, REST URL, SFTP, that those are all nothing but as you said, scheduled, right? And we cannot do any validations over here.
No, so we cannot do.
How often in the real time people go with scheduled EIB inbound integrations?
See, it purely depends upon the organization. I have encountered only once in my career wherein it was only for time entry. Since time entry integration was not happening with that, there was some other time entry module which is not part of Workday. So in that case, what they used to do, they used to populate the data in that EIB. Since again, you don't want this process to be manually because it is recurring process. When the process becomes recurring, you want it should be automated, right? If it is ad hoc, in ad hoc, you said that okay, EIB can be used in ad hoc process, but when the process is recurring, in that case, you will use all this approach. When I say recurring, what will happen? The file will be already been there. And again, you can automate this process. If any error comes, don't load the file. Validate the file. If any validation goes wrong, you will get an integration error that, okay, the file which has been uploaded has got wrong. So this has been very rarely used. But yes, I have encountered one scenario wherein time entry was not getting integrated with the time entry module. So in that case, we have to use this approach wherein we gave SFTP information. Every last day of the month, the file is to be picked from that thing and should be uploaded in Workday application. And we gave a notification that if the EIB is in error mode, don't load any information. Then you have to manually do. But this is very rare. This is not wherein you in day out you use that. This is very rare. Again, it depends upon your client. If your client is saying, I don't want to pay extra for a studio, or I don't want somebody who should create a studio integration, do a lot of R&D and then create this integration. So it is an organization's approach. As a consultant, you have an options. You can say that whether you can use EIB or you can use studio, but it's an organization wish whether to stick with which option, studio or EIB. So it's purely an organization wish. You cannot force your organization or client to use either of the methods. So again, commercial comes in a place, or they say that, okay, they have resource who can do that. So there is no straightforward solution for this, but yes, this has been very rarely used, very rarely used. Any ad hoc request is EIB, any scheduled, people follow Studio in that case. Okay, in real-time scenario, I have encountered one which is only last for 6 months. Then the client has forcefully, we have been asked that please use Studio. This is very tedious task. So I have not seen most of the clients are using either of this option. Since EIB is ad hoc, so they'll use attach file at launch every time, because while attaching, you can validate it. After validating, you can update whether the information is correct or not. Getting it?
Okay, yeah, got it.
So this has not been encouraged, and this is not that important concept wherein you'll be asked for this. Whenever asked, it is on ad hoc base. If client is asking you to do this, then there is no option. But as a consultant, you should not say or use all these information, because there is no validation approach. Okay.
So, Manthan, this is Madhav.
Yeah, Madhav.
I have a question. How to do that ad hoc run actually, and what is the difference between ad hoc integration and general integration?
See, ad hoc integration means, let's say all of a sudden I have to say give promotion to 10 employees. All of a sudden, or there is a change. Now assume in our scenario, 2000 employees from Toshiba is getting encountered in Samsung. Now out of 2000, 100 employees are saying, I'm not going to go with Samsung, I'm leaving an organization. But for them, just a real-time scenario, this happens. So as an organization, what you'll say, if you want to increase, change in your compensation, let me know, we'll change the compensation, but you stick with the organization. In this scenario, this is ad hoc. Ad hoc means, see, when you change the compensation, when you promote it, or your performance get completed. This is the normal routine process. But there are some instances wherein you have to ad hoc basis. This is ad hoc. This is not as per scheduled process. When I say schedule means performance is completed, then your compensation may change, or if you get promoted, then your compensation change. This is as per schedule date. But since this is came in between, wherein you have to upload the information ad hoc. This is ad hoc. Now coming back to the schedule date process. What does a schedule mean? Let my performance completed. I have got 4 ratings. So if I got 4 ratings, I'll be getting 10% increment in my base pay. So this is processed. This is schedule date compensation change. The earlier one is the ad hoc compensation change. Got it? Clear, doubt, or still not understood the concept?
Can you explain through tenant if you?
Okay, let's say. Okay. Okay. Let's say David is an employee. Okay. Now, for those 100 employees, the approval is already been taken. So you will use EIB. But if I want to go the compensation, and let's say for David Beckham, let me change the compensation. Okay. This is as per process. As per process, I want all the individuals should be updated. Whosoever is involved in the approval process, I want everyone should know that David Beckham's compensation. Okay, let's say I'm following the process. So I'll go to employees profile. Let's say I'm a compensation admin. I want to change the compensation. What I'll do as a process, I'll go to compensation. I'll request compensation change. See the difference, what is happened. This is scheduled. I'll say that, okay, from 1st of January, let's change the compensation for David Beckham. I'll initiate the process. Let me close this. Okay, let me change the process. So let's say his current salary is 60,000. Let me change it to 70,000. This is 70,000, and let's submit. Okay, what is the error? Let me see this. Reason is required. Okay, no worries. I'll give the reason. I'll go here and I'll give the reason. Okay, this reason comes from that there is a section in Workday. Okay, I'll just use this reason and let me try and submit now. Okay, since the process is being completed, it didn't went for approval, but whenever you change the compensation, it goes for an approval. So let's assume that the business process says once you change the compensation, the manager should be informed. So here what is happening? You are following a process, means anyone's compensation is changing, it should be identified to manager, all the approval should be followed, all the notification should be followed. But when you don't want, okay, 1 second guys. Okay, when you don't want the approval, you want approval to be skipped. So what you'll do, you'll ad hoc increase the compensation, wherein your approval will not go, your notification will not trigger, system will automatically change the compensation. So ad hoc thing comes when there is an urgency to upload an information without following the process. Then you will use EIB. When you use EIB, there is an option wherein you can skip the approval, you can skip the notification, your compensation information will get loaded, which is ad hoc basis. Process wise means you will initiate the process and let the process follows the business process, let follows the approval, all the notifications should be delivered, everyone should be informed that this employee's compensation is being changed. When you want to skip this, then there is an ad hoc process. So in ad hoc process, you skip all your approvals, you skip your notification delivery, you do everything. When you want to follow a process, it should, as per the business process, it will go for an approval, it will send the notification, it will follow the normal process. So that is scheduled, that is a process. EIB, when you use, you skip everything. You directly upload and it will automatically reflect the information. Clear or still uncleared or doubt?
Actually, I'm clear. Thank you. And I have another question actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
So actually, in EIB, in inbound, I have 1,000 employees.
Okay.
Uploaded, and that means I retrieved into Workday through EIB inbound. But I'm getting that event was successfully completed. But I'm not getting the employees in that Workday. Employees data.
Okay, employees data you're not getting in Workday. So
yes.
See, the scenario is like maybe he may be a future hire. I'm just giving a scenario based on your, I'm just getting your scenario and giving you the answer. What could be the actual issue? He may be a future. So if you're not getting that employee's name in report, because via report only you will come to know that you have loaded 100 employees, but you are getting 98 employees, right? You will not go to each employee's profile and see. So once you load the information, you have to validate. So if that employee's information is not coming in that report, so that maybe you have using an active employees and terminated employee data source. If you want that, you should use all workers record, all workers data source in that report. 2 employees record is not reflecting, maybe he may be a future hire or position is future
exactly.
position.
Excuse me, sorry for the interruption. Actually, thing is, hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. Yeah. Actually, what am I
audible?
Is, yeah. Actually, you're good. Actually, what I'm asking is, I have 1,000 employees. Hello.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
I'm going to hire 1,000 employees and actually hired through EIB inbound. But the process was successfully completed when
100% completed without any error, right?
Without any error through integration. Okay. I checked it through integration events. But, I didn't get the data of the 1,000 employees. I'm not getting the data. So how to find the data? What was the issue? Why the data was not on, and how to resolve it?
Yeah, again, this is like we need to have that scenario handy with us. Then only we can drill down. Verbally, it is, there is no, as I said, there is no straightforward solution wherein you can work on that and you can give that. But yeah, what I have understood from this is maybe 100% completion without error, right? So when you load EIB, you get a count. 1,000 employees record has been loaded successfully, or 1,000 employees record were loaded, but only 998 records has been loaded. So let me just see any EIBs. I'll show you that. How do you validate that? Let me just see. I'm just seeing an existing thing. Let me see. Do we have anything with compensation? Or anything worker, since I'm not familiar with this tenant. So let me just see integration. Let's say compensation is very common. Let me just look out that. I'm just seeing all the integration associated with compensation. So your data loaded 100%, your count is also matching, but still you're not getting, where you're not getting that. How you identified that the data is not there? You might have followed some process, right?
Yes, yes.
So how do you come to know that the employee's information is not loaded? So how you identified that? First thing is that, since you know that you loaded 1,000 employees, but still 2 employees are like not loaded. So how you identified that? Via report or any other task?
No, I'm not getting even one record also in that.
Okay. You're not getting one record also. Yes. So you might have, see, the first thing is like you might have loaded via in validation mode. That could be the reason. When you load EIB, there is an option comes validation mode. So in validation mode, when you load any information, that information is not actually loaded into the session. No, secondly, it might have followed the approval also. When you load EIB, it might have followed. Suppose if you're hiring, and while hiring you have not skipped the process, then it should go for an approval. So you have to complete the process, or else there is a way wherein you can say one task is there, mass cancel. Okay, I'll tell you what you can do. Mass cancel business process. This is one task, because any in progress transaction will show up under cancel. So you can use this process. Just go here, any EIB which you have loaded, use that EIB and get the output. If you are getting your 1,000 record, that means your EIB is initiated, but it is awaiting for the approval. Okay, you're getting it?
Yes, I'm getting it.
So, because mass cancel means any business process which is in progress, any in progress transaction will show up under cancel. So you have to see whether the 1,000 employee record you have loaded, but still it is not showing up. So maybe it might ask you for the approval. So you can use this task, check your EIB, and okay, if you get your record, that means it is awaiting for your approval. This is first approach which you can use. Since you got the updated, but still your record, because this is the only reason without which you got the successful, but your process is not completed. I'll take the simple scenario, but again, it may take our time. Let me just see that. Let me just add. Shall I do live thing, or you understood? You let me know, because again, if I do that, it may take our time. So you let me know.
Actually,
shall I?
I got it, but it's better to show us if you have time.
Okay, sounds good. So everyone is okay with that. Then let me give you a simple scenario. Again, I'll stick with the same fundamental, which says a compensation change. So let me look out the business process for compensation change. So EIB is associated with compensation. Sorry, BP : compensation change. So I'll just look into the process first. So okay, let's say, okay, there are these many organizations. So let's say default compensation, or else let me change this to, again, if I have to give you a demo, it may take time, so no worries. Let's say I'm just looking into this global modern services compensation change. So it says initiation, and it will go for compensation partner for review. This is my business process. So now let me change somebody's compensation via EIB. So if I want to do, I have to create an EIB. Let me quickly create that. Since you know the process, so I'm not going to explain the process of creating EIB. I'll quickly create an EIB. create EIB. Okay, let me just give, say, EIB underscore com change. Again, it's an inbound EIB. You know the process, so I'm not going to explain it. Everything is done. Get data. I'll just give the delivery that I want. Request compensation. Okay, request compensation change. Okay, next. Next. And okay, so I have created an EIB. Now I'll populate the data in that EIB. I got a scenario. I'll show you the same scenario wherein you'll get the successful message, but your data will not get loaded. So let me get the template handy with me. So I'll go here and get the template with me. Confirm. Since I am loading for global modern services, so I'll have 2 employees just for test load to check whether it has been loaded or not. So this is my organization. So I'll go with this organization. Let me know if you're not following any steps. Okay. So there are 2 employees. Okay, no worries. Let me change Steve Morgan's compensation. So if you want to do that, I have to see his employee ID. So this is Steve Morgan. Okay, I get employee ID from job. And this is the employee ID. Okay, so in the meantime, whether I have got my notification for my template, yeah, I got it. So I'll go here. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to change the compensation for Steve Morgan via EIB. You'll get the message, but data will not show up there. We'll see that. Let me open this. Since this is XML, I have to use Excel. Show in folder. Open this with Excel. Let me go ahead, open my Excel because we need Excel as a template. Wait. Okay, we start all programs. I don't think so. Excel is there or what? Office is not there, I guess. So it's very tough for us to do this. But it's very tough because any XML template should show up as a Excel. Here it is opening in. I won't be able to show you that. We need Excel template. Okay, let me. Let me see. Do I have anything handy with me? Nobody. I won't be able to do that because I don't think so. That Excel is out here, but still I'll try to explain what you are facing. So when you load EIB, what will happen on the first overview section? You have to skip all the approvals, skip the process when it is marked as an optional. If you have not done that, what will happen whenever you change Steve Morgan's compensation? Okay, when you change Steve Morgan's compensation, okay, let me change this manually. Okay, I'll go here and I'm changing manually. What will happen? You see that. Since Excel is not there, so I won't be able to show you the live thing, but still I'll try my best to explain the process. Let's say I'm changing the compensation. As per the business process, what it is saying, after initiation, it should go for compensation partner. Once compensation partner approves, then only the compensation will get loaded. So now I'll initiate the compensation change for Steve Morgan. So instead here, I'll say the salary should be increased by, let's say instead of 3, he should be 4. Okay. And again, it is asking for a reason. So let me give the reason first or else I'll get an error. So I'll go here. reason. Okay. Okay. Now done. Alert. Submit. See, now as for the process, what happened? It went for an approval to Logan clear. Now let me see whether my compensation is loaded or not. Let me see that. So what I'll do, I'll again go to Steve Morgan's profile. Steve Morgan's profile. I have changed the compensation. Let me go back to his compensation section. Please be on mute. See, compensation is not being changed. But in EIB also, this would have been happened that you have uploaded the information, but since the process is in progress, you will not see the changes. But as for EIB, what is the task of EIB? When you load EIB, it will check for the process. First task is completed, it will show you 100% completed. But still, you have changed the compensation, but your compensation is not completed. Why? Because your transaction is in progress. Once I complete the transaction, then only my process will, my changes will show up in the employee's profile. So this would have been the same scenario when you have loaded an EIB. Initiation would have been completed. Rest for other employees, it was asking for an approval. Again, to avoid that, you have to be to overview section. Once you would be on overview section, you have to choose that option. Skip when the step is marked that optional. Are you getting it now? Things are clear now?
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Manthan.
Yeah.
Ravi this side. So
yeah, Ravi.
So basically, through EIB, it's not a straight away kind of a database upload process. It's kind of an integration which is making you follow the process as well. Am I right?
Exactly, because again, there is a way you can skip that process, but you have to mention that process, that skip this process. If you have not mentioned that, the system will follow the process. So when you load the EIB, when your initiation complete, you will get a message that okay, initiation is completed. So you will get 100% completion message, but still after getting that message, since even if you see the process, let's go back here and see the process first, more detail, or let me go back to process. See, okay, let me just go back. Oh. Okay, if you not following it, just go back to Steve's profile and go to worker history just to understand what went wrong. So I'll go to Steve Morgan, employee, people. Okay, Steve Morgan's profile. Then under worker history, I'll get the business process transaction related information. So job, then I'll go to worker history. Let me go back there. Worker history. And here is my process. So this says this is in progress. So I'll go here. So what EIB gives you 100%, EIB will see the process. See, my initiation is completed. You will get 100% completion. But after initiation, the approval is awaiting. So if you don't want that EIB should follow an approval, you should have to mention that skip the process when it is marked or automatic run the process. Since I don't have Excel out here, I'll check with Dharma after the call that can we do that so that the candidate can actually understand the process. But since my process is in progress, so I won't be able to see the compensation changes, but still the process initiation is completed. I got my 100%. So any point in time, if such thing happens, you just go to worker history and see the process will be in progress transaction. If you have executed that scenario in the same tenant or any other tenant, I'll request you to go check for any one employee, go to that employee's worker history and see. You will get that the EIB which you have loaded is in progress. So you complete that process, you will get that employee. Suppose if you want to see a hire, you just type the employee name in here and you will just, let's say David. Since David is very common, let's say David. Go to process. You will get all the process associated with David. See, all this performance process, higher event. Similarly, you will get an higher event as well. I'll get an higher. Let me just search with higher. So you can do that. Higher should be part of here. Let me just see that. Contact information, or I'll just give you the approach what you can do. Suppose you have loaded for 10,000 employee via EIB, look out for any one employees, just put here and click on process. You will get all the process associated for that employee. Then you go to that record and see, you will get that the process in progress. Complete that process, you will get that employee handy with you. Clear, doubt? Because
okay,
let me speak with him. Can we have, because if I wanted to load data via EIB, I should have Excel, that because Excel is readable and we can populate the information in Excel. That is the only approach which we can use whenever we want to upload an information. I should have showed you there, but since I don't have any Excel, let me.
So yeah. Manthan, if we do have an Excel, then like if we upload through an Excel, is it like the process will be bypassed?
Yeah, you get that option, buddy. Okay, let me see. Do I have any EIB handy with me? Let me just see into my local system. I don't think so. It is there. So okay, I'll tell you that I need an EIB first. It's very tough to explain you a hypothetical scenario since I don't have here, but okay, again, since you have asked, when you get an overview section, in overview section, you get an option wherein you can get that option. Please skip the process. You get that option. Again, let me just do that now because it's very tough for me to explain you that. Let me just go into I'm drilling into my system, which is I'm bypassing it, but I don't have anything. Let me say XML, or else I'll just stop it for the session and then I'll show you that. Okay, one moment, guys. I'm just as well. Okay, you guys can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is an EIB which I have taken this from my local system. So every EIB will have this overview session. So in overview section, you can see that create position run now with automatic processing, and you can actually, these are the process. You can say skip when the step is marked and optional. So when you use this, what will happen? System will bypass the approval and it will automatically load the information. In your case, this would have been not selected and this would have been in this manual processing. So in this case, what will happen? Even though you load the EIB, you will get 100% completion since it will only look out for first step. First step is completed, it will give you the message. Since second step is manual processing, means it will ask for an approval. Without approving anything, if you do that, you will get successful completion message, but your EIB will be in progress. So you complete the in progress transaction, then you will get all your 1,000 employees present in the tenant. Clear? If you have handy with your, if you have that scenario handy in your tenant, you try the top option, you'll get it. Go to the overview section and choose this option. Skip process when it marks as optional, and then try to again load an EIB. Since you have already loaded, so you have to cancel that EIB. So what you can do is you can use this task, mass cancel all your load, and again try to load. Your data will get loaded. If it is not happening, again you can come back to me. I'll make sure that I have handy things arranged for you, and I'll show you the entire scenario with you. Getting it?
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Okay. So, okay, one question is pending with me, that I want to show you a scenario wherein you get 100% completion, but the data is not getting loaded. So I can show you that. Let me do my homework first, because I need to prepare all the EIBs and those kind of things. Since if I do that now, I was not knowing that we don't have Excel in the system. So I said that yes, since we don't have, so let that question be question mark with me. I'll check with the coordinator and I'll come back to you with the solution. Okay. Since we have running short of time, so if I start anything new, we'll consume our time. Have a Q&A session.
Yeah, Manthan,
anything.
A question.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually the thing is I got selected in one company. So my role is to, I mean, the project is, I'm getting data from Oracle. That is, we need to run payroll integration by using ADP.
Okay.
So my role is to, my role is to develop reports using integration. So my role is to do report writer. That's
okay. See, again, there is a two different. I didn't get your scenario. So since ADP is sending data to Workday payroll and that data is getting loaded, right? This is the scenario you're saying. Come back with the scenario. You are not audible. Sorry.
More suitable towards the support side and not towards the implementation side, because we don't have the.
No, I'm not declining that. If you are sorry. It doesn't mean that you are not eligible for implementation. You are eligible, but for that you have to join a partner company, get a certification, and then do the implementation. Don't take me wrong that I'm not discouraging you.
Yeah. No, I got it.
As per your current exposure experience, you are most suitable to support project.
Got it.
I mean,
don't get me wrong, guys.
We cannot do anything.
Yeah, got it.
Hello?
Yeah,
Manthan. They won't allow us to do the implementation projects, right?
See, for implementation project, you should have that ID. Let's say for me, Manthan-IMPL. That ID is being stored at Workday server. You can work, see, let's say you can use my ID and you can work on implementation project. That is happening, but this is not being defined by a Workday. You can work on implementation project. Let's say you are a third-party consultant and your organization want that you to be part of that organization to do the implementation. You can do that way, but the defined way is that you should be a certified consultant to work on implementation, because when you get certification, you get one ID created by Workday on their server. So let's say now you're working with Samsung, so your ID is enabled with Samsung. After 6 months, you say that no, I'm working with Walmart, so your ID will enable to Walmart, so you can access all the. So implementer access is different and normal consultant access is slight changing. Okay, so this is the only difference. You can work on any project as long as your client is allowing you, straightforward. But really speaking, if you look out the guidelines, you should be certified. But again, if your client is allowing you, no one can stop you guys. It purely depends upon your client who is allowing you to work as an implementer. You can do that. As a beginner, I did as an implementer since I was not certified. I did some projects, but it purely depends upon your organization who should be allowing you to work on such kind of scenarios. Getting it? And so everything happen, guys. You don't have to worry at all. It's purely depend upon your opportunity. Any opportunity you get, grab it and start working on it.
Yeah,
Manthan. So so how the work as a report writer, so how the work will be like, we need to create the calculated fields on the reports only, or else we need to run, or else we need to create integrations.
No. See, report writer integration, though there is a connection between report writer and integration, but since what I've understood from your requirement, it's purely a report writer wherein data has been coming, it's been loading into payroll. You have to run a report, you have to create a report which will show up that, okay, for 200 employee data has been updated for an employee's record. Give us a report which will show up that what will be the amount, what are the amount is being updated. So in your scenario, you will be working as a report writer consultant, wherein you have to create a report on multiple scenarios, because when I say payroll is not a small concept. It is a huge concept wherein you will be seeing the earnings, deductions, benefit amounts, what is being deducted. So yes, report writer is altogether, it's a huge project, and Yes, you can work as a report writer. I worked for 2 years only for reporting, none other task. It was only specified with report. I have worked on report. So you have to handy with your report writer concept, all kinds of reporting, advanced metrics, and importantly, report writer without calculated field is of no use. So when you get an opportunity as a report writer, and so you should be having a sound experience with calculated field. Don't focus on functional part. Don't focus on EIB, core connector, any other. Let that be on hold first. The primary focus should be on report writer. Secondly, on the calculated field. Report writer along with calculated field gives you a consultant, which is a report writer consultant or Workday reporting consultant. Okay. So focus on your reporting fundamentals and then with the calculated field. And the job profile which you gave me, it's purely into report writer.
Yeah. And what are the calculated fields I need to learn? Like there are some specific calculated fields, right?
The majorly used is, so the primary and the most is true and false. When any calculated field you have to use. So understand the concept of true false. Then secondly, which is evaluate single instance, extract single instance. Then evaluate expression is the most important. Then look up related value. For the 4 functions which I have said, okay, let me show you that, which you can more focus on it. Create calculated field is the task. Let's go here. And in this function, see, all are important at any point in time you have to use, but the major one, the primary thing which you can use is the first to understand the true or false. Second, there is extract single instance, which is this. Extract single instance. Then evaluate expression. Then you have to understand lookup related value. These 4 are the major one. I'm not denying that you should not know the other things. Other things is also required, but these are the 4 which are mostly used. Importantly, and again, for creating calculated field, you have to understand the concept between related business object and business object. So there is a report which says, understand this report, which says BO worker. So this is business object. So when you talk about calculated field, this reports become a Bible for you, wherein you can understand the linking between business object and related business object. So in this report, let me show you that. Since worker is a huge business object, so it is taking time. Let this output come and then we'll conclude the session. So calculated field is important, but before calculated field, you need to understand the concept of business object and related business object, how these 2 are interrelated. If I say you are using worker, but I want payroll data, but you don't know the linking, then you won't be able to get that data in that worker. So for that, you create, you need to understand why you create calculated field, because all the fields are not associated with one business project. So for getting another business project, business objects data, you use calculated field. So you need to understand the concept of business object and related business object. Once you are familiar with these 2 things, then your fundamentals of calculated field will become easier. Understood?
Yeah. Yes. Thanks, man.
Manthan, if you don't mind, can I ask you one thing?
I didn't get you guys. Come again?
Yeah, can I ask?
Getting the time of entry. So I've created one report for United Kingdom, not United States. Therein, they were looking out for a percentage of time off taken by a particular group of an particular location. So let's say in United States, there are 4 locations: Leeds, United Kingdom, Manchester, and one more location is there. And they wanted to get the percentage of time off. Let's say in Leeds, there are 500 employees. In Manchester, there are 200 employees. So they just wanted to know, for in Leeds, how many percentage of leave have been taken. Okay, I'll tell you the scenario. So this is, you want a leave for January, what was the percentage of leave? February, what was the percentage of leave taken? and that too sick leave. Okay, I'm just giving you a scenario. There is a requirement as an organization. I'm interested to see the report of an location, that which location have taken most of the sick leaves for that particular month. When month comes in place, then the report type should be trending. Trending report will give you data in month, year and quarter. So here my client was asking on monthly basis. So I've used trending report. Based on the trending report, I want the sick type. So I have to create a true or false condition wherein time off should be sick. So I've created one condition. Then again, time off condition should be sick. I have to use aggregate, means I have to sum, because once I've clicked on sum, then only I'll be able to do the percentage. So calculation was been given by client that take the number of leave, then total number of working days, and then multiply by 100. By doing this, I got the calculation. So I did this calculation. I used trending report. Then I did the calculation, because we got one calculation in trending report wherein you do the calculations, and then I've given the conditions and I've got the output. And this was specifically for United Kingdom. We have got our organization in multiple countries, but my client was only focused on the United Kingdom. So this was the approach which I followed. Verbally it looks easy, but when you actually dig into it, it becomes very tough. So this was one requirement which I found very tough. Then there was one more requirement for transpose report. Transport report requirement never comes, but it was a timeline report. In those timeline, the requirement was, it should be, okay, let me see, do we have access? Okay, we don't have, but still I am trying my, okay, let me show you the requirement output in my tenant. Guys, I think we are running short of time. Do you want me to continue with today, or we can continue tomorrow? Let me, should be, you get the message completed, but the data should not be completed. One, and second one is the what kind of toughest requirement I face in terms of reporting. So I'll show you that as well. Tomorrow I'll stick with this question, and then we'll proceed further with the Q&A. Okay. And importantly, we are not only following this Q&A. You guys have any queries, any concern apart or not focus on this thing, feel free to raise your concerns. Okay. So guys, let me conclude this session for the day. When we'll connect to our next session, then we'll take a further point of action, that what was my experience when I started my career, or what was my scenario where I was unable to deliver something. There was a scenario wherein I was unable to deliver something. I'll tell you that as well. Okay.